Welcome back to the channel. This video will be on how to cut and sew this easy cut together cargo jumpsuit with elastic at the back, which also has a cargo pocket. I'll be using freehand for this, and this is the front piece. I'm gone ahead to fold the fabric into two. Now from the top corner, I came down by 7.5 for my armhole line, then 10 inches for bust point line, then 16 inches for my waistline. Now for my crouch line, from my waist, I divided my hip into 4, which gave me 10. Now because this is a jumpsuit, I'm going to add 2 inches into the, adding 2 inches, making it 12 inches. Now this it will serve as my crouch line, and then I marked out 3 inches for the crouch extension. Now all my measurement to be starting from this line, okay? All the measurement to be starting from this line. The full length for this jumpsuit will be 60 inches. Now I'm going to take the shoulder measurement starting from this line. Shoulder divided by 2, I'll make a mark. Then from my armhole line and my bust point line, I'm going to take my bust measurement divided by 4. I'll make a mark. Now connect it to join the shoulder line. Now this jumpsuit has a strap. Now what I'm going to do, from this top corner, I'm going to come down by 3 inches. I'll make a mark at 3 inches. I'm going to subtract 3 inches for the straps. That's for the front. Now I'm going to mark out 1.5 inches starting from the shoulder line. That's how wide I want the sleeve to be. Then from this point, I'm going to come down by 3.5 inches for my neck depth. Now I'll connect from this point to this point. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to take my waist measurement, everything starting from this line. I'll make a mark. I'll connect. Then I'm going to take my hip measurement, hip divided by 4. I'll make a mark. Everything will be starting from this line, okay? I'll make a mark and I'll connect it as well. Now after connecting this, I'm going to take my crouch extension. I'm going to mark 2.5 inches from this point. That will be my crouch extension. Then from this point, I'm going to go up by 2 inches. This to help me give it a curve. I'm just going to use my freehand now to curve it and meet this point. Now after that, at the lower part, I'm going to go in by 1.5 inch, make a mark, and I'm going to connect it back to this crouch extension. Now this other side, I'm going to connect it down to the full length. After that, now I'm going to add my seam allowance to this area. Now I'll cut this out. You notice when I'm cutting, I added my seam allowance on the side as well. Now I'm going to use this to trace the back. Now I'll place the front piece on the back, and I'm going to make a mark at this crouch extension. Now for the back side has an elastic. Now from the waist, this line, now I'm going to fold it in. I'll fold it in this way. Then connect this point. Then from this line, I'm going to go up by 1.5 inch. I'll make a mark at 1.5 inch. Then I'm going to connect it to meet this point. Now for the crouch extension for this back piece, I'm going to go in by 1.5. I'm going to extend this by 1.5. Now after that, I'm going to take like 1.5 starting from this point. Then I'm also going to make a curve to connect it to the crouch extension for the back. Now I'm going to maintain that 1.5 inch on this side, just like this, and I'm going to take it down to the full length. Then I'll cut it out. Now I'm going to cut the upper part for the back. I'm going to fold the fabric into two as well. My camera isn't recording when I cut this out, but I'm just going to explain what I did here. So starting from this armhole line here, I just cut out a piece, then leaving like half an inch seam allowance extra. Now you can make yours straight, but I just made mine a little bit curved. Just from the armhole line, you just cut out a piece, and then I just added extra 3 inches on this side. Alright, and it's on fold. Okay, just like this. I also cut out the straps for this. Cut 2 pieces each. I also went ahead to cut out the piece for the pockets. The size of the pocket should be your preferred size, but I made use of 11 by 11 for the pockets. Okay, and I also cut out pieces for the pocket cover. All right. And I cut 2 pieces for this. So now I'm going to take this sewing machine. I'm going to close each side, leaving one side open to turn it over. I'll do the same thing for this other side, leaving this side open. Now I'm going to also take this piece and I'm going to fold in each side, and I'm going to use my hemming gum to hold it down. All right. Now for the straps, I'm going to take it in this way, and I'm going to close in and turn it over to the right side as well. Now for this upper area for the back, I went ahead to cut lining for it as well, and also pocket pieces for the side pockets, like 4 pieces. I'll also cut the facing for this neckline. Okay, I'm gonna head to cut the facing for the neckline for the front piece. I've closed the straps. Here are the straps, and I've turned it to the right side. This for the pockets. Like I said, I've gone ahead to iron all sides using my hemming gun to hold them down. And this is the pocket cover as well. I closed it as well. Now keep this aside. Now I'll work with the back upper area where I'll be inserting the elastic. Now I'm going to take one strap and I'm going to place it this way, and I'm going to take the lining, place it on it, then run a stitch at this top area, then turn it over to the other side. I've gone ahead to run a stitch to this. Now I'm now going to flip the lining in this way. So the next thing I'll be doing will be to add the elastic now, but I'll have to make spaces where I will insert the elastic. Now starting from this bottom part, I will mark out half an inch that I'll be using to join it with the lower part of the back. Okay, I'll just mark out like half an inch. Now I'm going to mark out 1 inch on this, like I'm just going to mark a straight line, 1 inch space. After marking it out, this is what I have. Now I'm going to run a stitch on these lines. Okay, this is what I have after running the stitch on the line. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to insert the elastic. I'm going to take my safety pin and I'm going to secure it this way, and I'm going to just pass it through this space. Give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're yet to do so. Once I pass it through to the other side, I'm just going to pull this. Okay, I'll pull this to gather it to get the desired size. Okay. Now I'm going to secure this and then cut the elastic. I'm going to repeat this for all the spaces I made. I'm going to add this, and after doing this is what I have. This is the upper area for the back. Now I'm going to close this. I'm just going to sew from this point. I'll just close this to this point. I'll use like 1/2 inch to close it, and I'll do the same thing for the back. This is what I have after closing it. Now what I'll do will be to add the pockets to this. Now from the waistline, I came down by 3 inches. Now that's where the pocket will start. I made a notch there. Now I'm just going to attach this. From that 3 inches, I'll come down by 6 inches. That's the space where the hand will pass through. Now I'm just going to open this up. Take one piece of the pocket, run a stitch from this point to this point. Repeat the same thing for this side as well. And I'll repeat the same thing for the back piece. This is what I have. The next will be to join the upper part to the lower part of the back. Now, this is the upper part and this is the midpoint of this upper part. Now I'm going to take it to meet the midpoint of the lower part this way, right side facing right side. All right, flip it over to this side and I'll pin it down. Then take this edge, meet this edge, pin it down. Repeat the same thing for the other side. Take this part, meet this part, and then pin it. Now I'm going to sew, but I'm going to stretch the upper part. Okay, now from this point I'm just going to hold it this way. I'm going to sew using 1/2 inch to sew, stretching the upper part. I'll repeat the same thing for this other side. Okay, once I was done, this is what I have. Now to join both pieces together, I'm going to just take the back piece. Now make sure the pockets are aligning. Okay, I'm going to take the pockets, then I'm going to pin it. Do the same thing for this other side. Make sure that they are aligning. Pin it together. Now to join the strap to the front piece, if you remember when drafting the front piece, I subtracted 3 inches for the straps. Okay, now I'm going to place my tape here, measure out that 3 inches plus 1/2 inch, that's 3.5, and I'm going to cut it out. And I'm going to use it to cut this other one. Now I'm going to take this, push it down, same thing. Then I'm going to take the facing and I'm going to place it this way, and I'm going to turn the neck area and the armhole area. This is what I have. Okay, now I'll turn this over. This is it. With this you have a very neat finishing. Now I'm going to iron this out. After that, I'm going to just take this back piece, push it to meet this front piece at the armhole area, and I'm just going to stretch it using 1/2 inch to close. And when I get to this point, I'll stop. Then I'll run a stitch on the pockets, stop at this point, then start again from this point using 1/2 inch to close them up. I'm going to place this way, and I'm also going to sew, close this part using 1/2 inch. I'll repeat the same thing for this other side. Take the back piece, place it from the armhole area, then stretch it to meet, close it as well. Getting to this point, I'll stop, then I'm going to close the pocket separately, stopping here, then come back to this point and close it. Then close this area as well. Once I've done, this is what I have. Now I'll turn this over to the right side. This is it. Now to attach the pocket, I would have done this before closing the inner part. From this part, I'm going to measure 26 inches. I'm going to make a mark. This is my preferred measurement, okay? You can take your own measurements to know where to place your pocket. I went up from this point, 26 inches, and I made a mark. Now I'm going to turn it to the side. Now get my pocket. I was supposed to do this before I close the inner one. If you notice, I made my iron just to mark out the midpoint of the pocket, okay, so it will be easier to fix. Now I'm just going to pin this. I will advise you fix this particular pocket before closing the inner part of the jumpsuit. Now I'm just going to run a stitch here, and I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to sew from here, okay, so that I don't join both sides together. Then I'm going to take the pocket cover and run a stitch here. Then after running a stitch, I'll fold it in this way, okay. Then I'm also going to run a stitch on top. I'll repeat the same thing for the other side. Just remember to do this before closing the inner part of the pocket so to avoid any inconveniences. But I'm going to open up my trouser this way, and I'm going to sew it, okay, so it doesn't hold together. Okay, I've gone ahead to do this. This is the finished look. Subscribe to the channel if you're yet to do so. Give the video a thumbs up, leave me a comment, share the video. See you all in the next one. Bye.